straight taller. Hello, welcome back, Lockdown Workshop. Thought we'd try doing some proper intros for once. So, what are we going to do today? I'm knee deep in rubbish. People just keep bringing stuff in and dropping it off and saying, fix that. So I've got vacuum cleaners, I've got clocks, I've got lumps of wood. No bikes. Only my own bikes that need fixing. There's stuff all over the place that I can't pack away because I haven't finished other jobs. And there's this big lump of wood. Jobs today then. Rip this piece of wood down so it fits on top of the unit that the doors we made before are going for. So this isn't part of the doors. This is a new one. We'll rip that one down, get it cleaned up. It's kind of awkward because the walls aren't exactly level, so I've got to cut it down, and it's going in between two walls. So it's kind of a one-shot deal. You either get it right or you get it wrong. You very rarely get it right. I've measured all the angles. They don't add up because they never do, because the wall doesn't angle in straight, it angles in with lumps. I really don't want to be getting into chasing the wall out to put this in. So there might be some gaps, and I'm sure the foreman will not approve of any gaps. I've possibly got two shots at this. I'd rather not waste both pieces. And then we've just got a couple of bits and bobs that we need to finish off with the doors that I did. If you remember, I had the insert panels that were going to be covered. Well, the decision's made. It's some old wallpaper left from our other house, and the foreman, foreperson, would like that putting on the panels. So I've got to go and find some wallpaper paste and paste that to them. There's also a couple of doors behind you off an IKEA unit as well that are designed to put photos or material or something in between. It's like a photo frame door. You take the back off, you put something in there, you put the back on as if it's a big frame, and you can make it look a bit fancy and freshen up. She wants that put in on them as well. So I've got that and that to do, and that's it. Let's see how we go. Table saw's already been set up to pretty much bang on a foot. The width I need is about 11.5 inches, but a foot will do. It just give me about a quarter of an inch more overhang than I need. But it gives me if I need to, it means I can face the front off, because these are slightly rounded over. But let's just rip them up and into a more manageable piece. This piece of wood is pretty much the right size. I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about here. You can't when you're stood over there. Come on, learn how the camera works. Right, so here's the piece of wood. It's 2 foot across. I'm going to rip it down to 12 inches. That'll give me the overhang I need. We're going for that piece of wood there, so I need to flip it over. That's our backup piece. I just like that the graining in that matches the wood panels, possibly the colour slightly better. We'll see how we go with that. Prepare for some noise. that is a big old lump of wood to be chucking around in there. The floor's absolutely shot in here, so it's a block and beam floor, and some of the beams of some of the blocks are broken and sunk, so I can't see underneath the stable matting we've got, but there's a lot of big holes developing, and the table saw's on a bit of a kitty wampus at the moment, so it's making it difficult. And then of course the dust extractor was in the way as well, so I think I pretty much got it. I tried to keep it close to the fence. I think we're okay. Give it a quick measure up, and then we might skim a bit off. Shift this bit out of the way. And we still won't take the blue cloths out of this room. Put that down there for the rats to play with. Right, so I'm just going to take another pass at it, but I am also going to push it, see if I can get it away from there, because that wasn't helping either. That's still not much better. Nope, still bouncing around like a good one. So we'll take a thin pass off now. We know we've got a bit more control over this piece of wood. To make sure that this edge is straight, so I'm taking about 1/8 off. Sorry, noise again. Just stopping and starting you there just to save the image. I think we'll call that a win. I don't really fancy taking any more off. So yeah, it'll be right. Just check the measurements I took earlier. So I'm still a bit chesty and wheezy from the virus I had. So we had 1/2 inch overhang at 12 inches, so we'll be fine with that. We'll leave it as it is. What we've got to do now is get this out of the way. I don't know if I can put this through that table saw. I think I might be better off using the hand, mark it out manually and use the hand. So I've got a choice. I can't feed it through the table saw on the edge trimmer board, shuttle board I've got. Partly it's too heavy, but also I can't angle it, and I need to angle it. If I use the angle piece, again it's too heavy to be sliding on here, so that's pretty much the table saw out of action. The other option I've got, let's take out the stand, is to use the this, but as you can see it goes to 12 there, but the blade, we are actually plugged in, the blade only goes as deep as there, which is about 10 inches. So I'd say we've got a 10-inch cut on that. It's possibly on here somewhere. Maximum width cut 210. Oh, it says at 90. Don't believe it. Because well, I suppose it would drop down. I've got to be careful because it is plugged in. Alright, so for me the maximum cut we're going to get is where that crosses there. Yeah, it probably would do it. The question is, do I feel comfortable, or would I rather just cut it by hand with the panel saw I've got? So the other option is somewhere in here. So the other option is to mark it out manually and use this panel saw. The only downside to this is it's got a deep enough cut, but it is only a battery operated one, and it's not the biggest one they do, so it does have some limitations. It's whether or not it would get through that. If I'm honest, I think I've got a more chance of doing this more accurately, marking it out and hand cutting it, than I have doing it on that, because that is not as accurate when you're going off non-standard angles. I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself very well. Let me turn that off. I don't have to keep shouting. I've got the fire on here. It's 28th, I think it's 29th of December. So we're in between Christmas and New Year's. It's got detents in for fixed angles. As soon as you go off that, you have to lock it down with that. And then you've got to measure against that, and as you can see there's a gap under there, there's a gap under there, so it's very hard to put the measuring tool in. I think I'll probably have more success trying to measure it on here, so we'll go with that. I'll push this back, I'll get the workmates out and we'll set it up on there. I'll bring you back in a minute. Right, I've got them on the workmate. We just need to mark up one of the edges now, and then I still need to go back in and measure the distance across, but we'll get one of these cut just as a test run. So it needs to cut an angle in there. I've dragged the workmates out. These things are old. This one, we had that when we bought the first house, so that's 90 something, so this is probably close to 40 years old. No, it can't be. 30 years old. 30 years old, yeah, 30 years old. We've been here 20 years. We were in Schofield Street 10 years, so that's about 30 years old. This one is probably as old, but I didn't buy that. I think I mentioned before that we the DIY sort of builders merchants that we used to buy all our stuff from when we built this house, and when we renovated the other house in Schofield Street, got sold to another company and had to clear everything out. And there was a damaged bent workmate at the back of it that was included in all the stuff we bought. So that came home with us and got straightened out. I might have even done some welding on it. They're both on their third tops now, and to be honest, they could probably do with doing again. So this is a lot better than the stuff that's on them. This is really heavy duty beach marine ply. And I made 2 tops for them. They're probably about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch thicker than they would be on the normal workmates. So they've done well. They're hanging in there just. Right, let's start measuring up. We might be in for a short ride today. That's the big battery I'm supposed to use in the trimmer. I thought it was fully charged because it was away in the cupboard and it wasn't in something. I generally put them in, so we'll see if it's just reading low because it's cold. See if it comes back. It's on the charge. I've got another 2 batteries there, but it's that saw is notoriously bad. If I'm cutting a panel of thing, I normally get 1 pass per battery. Right, sorry, I forgot to turn you on. 87.6 was the angle on the wall on this front one, so I've set that to 87.6. Lined it up on the back of there, so I'm not using this as a square, I'm just using it as a flat edge to go across the front of there. Put that on there, lined it up, drew a line across there. Now all I'm going to do is just use this straight edge just to project that line to the back of it, and we'll be somewhere near. What I'm probably going to do is just stick a knife down it as well, just so I can see it. Because the trouble is with the saw is it's got a laser on it, but it depends how accurate it is. I've never really checked that one. I'm also cutting very close to the edge there, so I've got to be careful I don't get any roll off. Sod's Law says that I will be cutting on the wrong side of the piece as well, so that's a much better line. I can see that now. Oh no, the law of sod is on our side for once, so we are cutting down, so most of the plate will be on there. That's the big one doing, it's not. So let's stick the baby battery on. See how we go. I'd call that a win, actually. That's not bad. It's a little bit out there. I think we can probably plane that off, to be honest. So we're probably a bit, the trouble is you can't see where the blade's going on unless you lean over, and as soon as you lean over you lose the thing, so it's probably about bang on there. So it's got a little bit of a in, but it goes into where it was anyway. So we've just got a little bit of a hump to take off there. So we can either do that with the electric planer or get one of the manual ones out. Depends how sharp this is. I can't remember when I last used it. Trick is not to go too far, because if I hit the end it will break out. I'm just planing away at the middle at the moment. Could do using the. I do have some stops for this that I can drop in there if I can remember where they are, which I probably can't. I suspect they're in here. Ones. Yeah, they're a bit mashed. That'll do. Actually, nearly there now. Don't take much at all. That is not a million miles away. Yeah, I know I'm going to get loads of complaints. I shouldn't be planing it like this. No, I'm quite happy with that. So all I need to do now is go and get the other measure. Clunk, clunk, bang, bang, bang. Around here so you can see what I'm up to. So this one's slightly harder than the last one to set up, because we've got to project the line at the beginning. So that's on there, that goes down there, rests against that. That's got to float in there, and hopefully, if we're not pushing anything that we shouldn't be pushing, that should be it. So just lose that and hopefully don't move that. Now what the varnish is on this, it could be some even yacht like. It's definitely varnish rather than a finish, because you can see where it's bubbled up. Right, so let's just check we've got this somewhere near. That looks about spot on. Happy with that. That's hitting the line down there. Turn that off before I forget, because this just eats batteries. Oh, as soon as you move it, it turns it back on again. I think that's partly the problem with this. As soon as it moves, it turns back on again. So when it's in the drawer, it's always getting knocked about. So what I generally do is pop the battery out when I'm not using it. How's my battery doing? It's getting there. Let's put the big battery in. I like the newer Ryobi batteries because they actually have a power meter on that tells you where they are. So it's got 2 bar of this is probably about as powerful as the other one. Right, I don't want to be cutting in a corner, and because we actually were a bit lucky and dropped on the right way round. Can't get these out. Fortunately, the holes I drilled for these have either shrunk with age or were too small in the first place. So I just want to fasten that in a bit just to hold it down, make sure it's not going to move around. I need a hammer on that. I'm just more bothered about it skating off rather than anything else. So, oh, look at that light. That's fantastic. That was pretty much bang on the line. So maybe dipped in slightly there, but the wall did have a dip on it. No, that's just hope for the best now when we fit it. Take my battery back off. That needs to go back on charge. You've got low battery. Sorry, I'm faffing about over there with the thing. Right, so just need to go and dry fit this now, just check it fits, then we'll bring it back. We'll clean off the surface, see what it looks like, get it ready for oiling, and then see where we go from there. Your battery. Well, I'm back and I'm not swearing. It fits pretty much perfect. There's a about a 2mm gap when it goes round a bit in the wall, and I was like I said, I'm not going to start chasing the walls out. If anybody's that bothered about it, I'll squirt some filler in, but it's fine. It is what it is. You've got to get up and look over, and it's underneath the stairs anyway, so it'll be fine. I was going to try and see what I need to do to get this off. I don't really want to put any paint stripper on it. Don't think know that I've got any, to be fair. Might have. I don't think I have though. Got some instant drain cleaner for some bizarre reason. I think the paint stripper might have gone off and gone already. Some lime wax. Yeah, I think paint strippers a ship that's long since sailed. Nope. So it's either scrape it off or sand it off. We'll see how we go with this. I'll not make you watch all of this, especially as we're going to have the dust extractor on. If I'd plugged it in. Right, it's going to get noisy because it's right by your ear. I don't know what's in this varnish, I don't know what's been poured on it. I'll be honest, my chest isn't brilliant anyway, so it'd be rather foolish not to get some headgear on. Just going to make the glasses steam up though, so they're going to have to go back on top of my head. And you probably can't hear a word I'm going to say now. Or something like that. That's it, pretty much done now. Just going to have one quick last pass at it. Make sure we've got rid of all the little surface scratches that the other sanders put in. And then we might get some finish on it, depending on what time it is. Bring you back with. Let's take you to have a look. So that's what it did look like. Quite a thick layer of what I'm only guessing is either a polyurethane or a yacht varnish. It took some getting off, and there's a few bits where the grain had, or there's a defect in the wood that I've had to take out. There's some strange crosshatching here that I thought I might have done with the belt sander, but it appears to be all the way along. So I'm wondering whether that was in the wood originally and I've just uncovered it as I've taken the thing off. But I've tried to sand it, get rid of it as much as I can, but it just seems to be resisting. So I'm actually starting to wonder whether it's one of those weird cross-grain defects that you sometimes get. Well, it's not, it's part of the nature of the wood, but you can definitely feel that one. It's as if there is something there. So I don't know, we'll put a layer on of Danish oil, but just for comparison you can see the difference in colour. So I'm glad I chose this piece. It looks quite nice, that. So we're just going to wipe as much off as I can, and then we'll stick some Danish oil on. So I've got my Danish oil. I don't know if I've got a tub for pouring it in though. I can't remember what I poured it in last time. Let's use one of these, since I hate these things. I've got a lid that fits that. That's a novelty. Right, I'll stick it back in the stand and I'll go and find something to applicate with. You just missed that. That was the cardinal sin. Never, ever, ever fill your paint tray or your varnish or your stain hopper on top of the piece of wood that you're going to do it. So I had that sat on there and I was pouring it and I thought, I really shouldn't be doing that, because you can guarantee you're going to spill it or knock it over, and then you're going to have a patch that's going to have way too much on. Right, so just going to dip my cloth in. I'm just going to start pulling it down. That is going to be a great match. You can see that already. Really pleased with that. So I'll try and keep a wet edge. Same with any kind of painting, whether it's varnishing or staining. This is actually just an oil, so all I'm doing is just massaging it into the grain. We'll do one pass of this, the same as the doors, if you watch the other video with the doors. I perhaps ought to move this to the other edge. And if I do it that way around, you can't see what I'm doing, but maybe we'll move it for next time. It's just so I can rub it down that other edge at the same time. And then next time what I'll do is I'll bring it round. So I do a quick pass, make sure I've got it all wiped off and it's there's not too much on there. It doesn't work well if you put too much on. It just fails to dry. What you want to put on is just enough so the wood takes it in, so there's a little sheen, and it'll build up a lot more naturally. If you try to put it on too thick, it seems to just not set, and then you end up with thick sort of tacky bits that never, because it is an oil, you know. So when people talk about oiling their teak furniture to protect the wood, this is what they use. It's either a linseed or a Danish oil, both very similar. This smells slightly better than linseed oil. You tend to find, and linseed oil works better with different types of wood. So linseed oil works better on ash and willow particularly. They use it on cricket bats for hardening them and knocking them in. So when you see people oiling the cricket bats, that's linseed oil. It's not Danish oil. Danish oil is a little bit more better for water repellent. you can actually use it. I've heard people say you can't, but you can actually use it outside. I've certainly oiled stuff. We had some oak that we used in one of the upstairs bathrooms, and it was just oiled. And it's been in about 20 years now, and you know, it's had water and stuff thrown all over it. Still doesn't look that bad. It's probably due for a bit of a treatment now, when it just needs sanding off, and then a bit more oil. We've got a little sort of occasional table or coffee table upstairs as well that's suffered a bit over the years with the dogs and kids and people putting things on it, and that looks a right mess. But all it needs is just a light sanding and re-oiling. It might not have been oiled originally, that one. It might have had a stain-like varnish or a water-based varnish on it, but it's going to get an oil. I'm going to sand it down to take all the knocks and rings and things out of it, and then I'll just oil it like this. So I'm just working it backwards and forwards. It's best not to overwork it, because it will start to get tacky quite quick, but I'm just trying to make sure I don't get any sort of lined edges, so I'm feathering them back out again. Ideally, you should do this with your cloth around a sponge, and then it's a bit more like how you see French polishers do it. It makes a little difference. It means you can load up a bit more, and it means the sponge pulls out what's not used and it reapplies it to the next bit. So it's kind of just way of metering it out a bit better. But so you can see I'm starting to get a bit overloaded now. So when I'm moving it around, it's just smearing it across. It's not bringing it out. So all I'm going to do is just dry off that there, and then go back over this just to pick up the bits that the cloth didn't pick up before. That's perfect now. So somebody's rattling with chickens outside. There we go. That looks spot on. I was a bit worried it might not take in places because of it depends on how thick that varnish was and how far it had soaked into the wood. But it looks like we've got away with it. Those funny crush hatch marks as well. I think they are machining marks, but I can't see them. I'm just a little bit concerned that this bit up the middle doesn't seem to be taking it as well as the others. And maybe there's a little bit of varnish left in there, but it's not obvious, so I'm not too concerned. We'll just run this round the front. Make sure we get that. Shut that door because it's getting on my nerves. The other thing with this being round here is I've not got very good light on here. Right. So that needs a 4-hour wait. I'll just shove some on the end there, just to seal it. I didn't do the back edge, but we will do. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to now. It's here. I'm not going to do the bottom. I want to allow the wood to breathe through the bottom. It'll still breathe through this, because it's oil based. Quite pleased with that. Yeah, there might be some bits down that middle that are just not taking it. Well, it could be the grain. You do get some very sort of fine parts of the grain that just don't take the oil, or don't take it as well. They're very close, tight parts. They do tend to look like that as well, so I can always tell people that's what it is. Quite pleased with that. It's just consistency. We'll do this end bit up here. Shouldn't really be doing this next to that dust, but it doesn't really matter. I'm done now. Right, can't really use that again. Well, I probably can actually. Right. Take what I haven't used back in here, because otherwise it will just set in there. Tried doing this before, leaving it in the jar and it like turns to jelly, especially if there's been something in there before. It's like contaminates. Right. Chuck that in there and it might be all right. If it is, it's a bonus. Right, quite pleased with the way that looks actually. So we'll give it a knock off when it dries in about 4 hours time. So it's probably tomorrow now. And then we will see what that one looks like. So in the meantime, I'm going to clear this off. Oh, you're still down there, aren't you? Come with me. Right, so in the meantime, I'm going to sit you there. Flipping chickens have escaped and we're in flock down, so I've got to go and catch them all. Now the good news is, because we've had an absolute crap ton of sawdust all over this, I'll just keep chucking it over there. It'll be fine. We might need that. Definitely need that. That can go on top of there. That's over there. That needs to go under there. Ooh, smelly. Right. Just need to make sure I've got no oil on here. I don't care about just don't want any oil. This one's less of a hassle, what I'm about to do, because it's not actually wood, it's metal, so if I do get some oil on it, it'll wipe out. What I don't want to do then is get some oil on the on the wallpaper itself. Alright, so I'll bring you back. Right, brought you back. Right, somehow or other, I've managed to lose all my memory cards. I had a box with 2 in that I fetched down from the house, and I have absolutely no idea where they are. I suspect I picked something up and launched them somewhere, so they'll be on the floor, which means they will never ever 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 be found again, I suspect. No, I can't see them. I'm sure they'll turn up. Well, I've got a spare card for the moment, and I've got 2 in the house waiting to be emptied, so it's just 2 out of the 6 I've lost, which is irritating. Anyway, right, so what have we got to do here? I can't remember how these work, to be honest. I think you use a flat-bladed screwdriver. All will become clear in a minute. No, I think that was too thin. That's the one I want. So these twist out, yeah they do. I'm not sure they're supposed to be this reusable, given by how much that feels like they're falling to pieces when I do that. I think this is calls for it. So I'll spot it over here. Nope. Yeah, so you point them in arrow facing down and then twist them and they turn up. There's only one way you can do them, to be honest. You can see there's a, if you look, there's a rounded off part. Cunning, these Swedish. Do they have IKEA in America? Right. It has to come out that side. Now then, I can't remember. I think it's that long ago since we put these in. I can't remember how to get them out. I think they were pre-assembled, to be honest. That white bit definitely comes out. Oh, there we go. That's what we want. Right, so let's move that out of the way. Now, I think the best way to do these is I'm not going to glue them to this because they're going to be behind glass, whereas the ones in the other ones aren't, if that makes sense. So all we need to do is get past the crappy bit. I hate flipping wallpaper. To me, to you. Question is, how obvious is that from there? Right. Because I can't be asked to cut that much of it off, what we're going to do, right, that's glued down. Let's get a nice, shiny, fresh new blade in here. Which may or may not be that one. Oh, that feels like a nice blade. You're never too sure when you swap a blade over in these whether or not you're getting sloppy seconds or you're the first one in there. And in this case, it is the other half of the blade that hasn't been used. Right, so we'll just get that out of the way. Boom. One. Right, rather than have two of them in pieces all over the place, we will do one. We've got to make sure that we put them in the right way up too. So you stay there. I will have another quick look round in vain to see if I can spot my missing memory cards. Where can they be? Unless I've knocked them off the back of here. I do recall I had something drop and I did wonder what it was. In which case, if it's gone down there, it is lost forever. The other thing was, it was wrapped up. Everything came down in this, and I hung this up. So it's quite possible that I've launched it across the room when I picked that up, which obviously isn't good. This is where we turn around this one as well and find out it's broken, because one of them did go with a bit of a clatter. Right, can't see it. Not in there, not in my pockets, which is all that really matters. Sure to turn up, I've got to tidy up in here anyway. Slightly imperfect. Well, I never. Aren't we all? Sellotape. Right. So same thing again. We'll find a decent edge. Line up to it. And start the cutting. I'm not even going to try and pattern match across the two. Don't tell the wife I said that though. I'll just say, oh, do you know what? I never thought to do that. This is where we also find out that the doors are two different sizes, slightly different sizes. Shouldn't be, it's IKEA. I'm genuinely curious, do they have IKEA in America? Because you don't always have the same shops. It's like you have Home Depot. I wish we had a Home Depot. You look like you get loads of cool stuff from Home Depot. All we've got is frigging B&Q. To be fair, they are starting to sell some stuff similar to what Home Depot sell. Right. So just drop that down there out of the way. Just chuck that there out of the way. Just bring this over here out of the way. Right. Just going to make sure we've got no... I think all the muck. How's it got muck on the inside? No idea, because that has only just been undone, and yet it appears to have a whole load of muck on the inside. Fortunately, we've got things right as well. Yeah, look at that. I'm glad I checked that, because that is... It's manufacturing, and it's just always been in there. You would have thought though, that it's definitely oily. You'd have thought if it had been, you can see, look at the colour of that. You'd have thought if it had been in there all that time, that it would have, because it does feel oily, that it would have stained the piece of hardboard that was in there. Right, this is going to be fiddly as. Right, I'm going to go for this one being the left-hand door, because it does look like that is slightly higher. So that's all I'm bothered about, because I would have thought that would have been higher. So that's 18 to the bottom. Huh. 18 to the bottom of the hinge. No, both the same way up. Doesn't really matter. But we'll assume that this is the left-hand door. So peel that back, slide that under there. Oh, I knew they were going to do that. Right, just check. What does it look like? Oh my God, look at that. That's fantastic. Well, I hope that's the effect she was looking for. Right, how many of these have we got? I think we had 2 in the bottom. 2 in the bottom. So I think they were pinned in by the one there. Will that do it? So they're pinned in by that, so they're not going anywhere, are they? So you could. Can't remember. Let's have a look at the other one. 2, 2, 2, 2. Right. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's it. I might need a better screwdriver than this. This one doesn't want to play. Get in there. I really don't know why you need these here, because it's oops, it's moving the right way up. Come on, Toller, get a grip. You've done all them right, and now you're going flipping AWOL. Nope. 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 Yes. Ta-da! Can you see that? That's very bright. Oh dear. I know I'm laughing, but that's what's going up the stairs as well. Let's do the other one. Hey, oh. Yep, that one's the same. I wonder if it's come out of the wood itself. Possible. There's definitely something there. Doesn't like to be, doesn't want to be rubbed off either. Yeah, because you rub it one way and it won't shift. You rub it back the other way and it suddenly moves. There's a big slobbery dog beard mark on the other side. Very weird. This one's worse than the other one. I wonder whether it's just some oil or something from the manufacturer. Where's the other one? Right, so that door handles that one, so this one's round the other way, which means this is the top. Yep. Right. Let's get our new screwed in it as well. Yeah. Right. There we go. Ready. Good morning. Quick catch up on where we are. Stuck another coat on this. Get it a quick light dusting with some 00 wire wool. Quick rub down with some more Danish oil. Starting to get there. Needs one more coat. You can see it's not as quick taking it in now. You can still see there's a couple of shiny patches as it's sucking in. Only did it about 20 minutes ago. Cracked on and covered the boards. So these are the boards out of the frames, the okie dokie doors, those things that went on forever. So these have been papered up like the other doors we did yesterday. The other doors are installed. I didn't have any wallpaper paste, so I've had to use watered down PVA, and it is just slightly lifting. Sorry, I didn't set the video going, completely forgot. But you can see the aftermath of it there. Just PVA mixed with a bit of water and a roller the board, so it sucks into the board, but then roller the wallpaper in the same way as you would. You coat it so it goes floppy and it sucks in. Maybe didn't quite put as much on, or could have watered it down a bit more. It is starting to lift on the edges, but like I said, I'm not too concerned about the edges because they'll be behind the thing. I'm more bothered about it sort of pillowing up in the middle. So hopefully that'll be spot on that. So these are just waiting to dry. If anything major peels up, I just go and stick another bit of glue on the corner. That's why I've left that out. They look to be going fine. We'll get the frames in when these have set off a bit more, and we'll get them in the frames, and I'll brad nail them in place. I've got a brad nailer just to hold them in place. Ideally, you'd have these little triangular shaped things that you knock in that pin behind. I think framers pins, I think they call them, or place. I can't. They've got a funny name anyway, but they're not like a nail. They're like a flat triangular shaped piece of metal that you just knock in, and it sticks in the wood. Then the triangle bit sticks out and holds the piece back. We'll find something, either some small brad nails, and I'll turn the compressor right down so it doesn't punch them all the way through and just leaves them sticking out a bit, so they just hold it, and then they're easy enough to get out afterwards. What I don't want to do is shoot something through the frame and it come out the other side, or it completely miss and make a mess of it after all that hard work. So these are nearly done. We solved the mystery of the missing cards. It had dropped on the floor down there, only there was a bag on the floor down there, and it had gone into the edge of the bag, and then somebody had come and picked up the bag and moved it over there, and then I kicked the bag this morning and the memory card came flying out the other side. So we haven't lost the memory cards. If I'd have worked it out, I should have worked out they were definitely in here, not in the house, because I was only missing one, which meant I brought 2 down, which meant I must have taken 1 out, so it meant they had to be in here. But anyway, we've got spare cards to go at. I don't know how much is left on this. I've got quite a bit left on this. Uploaded the video for the Trek come Planet X this morning, so that's on. That ended up being nearly 2 and a bit hours video. It's probably one of the longest ones I've done. I didn't realise I'd spent a good 40 minutes waffling at the beginning before I even started on the Trek. I was doing reviews apparently. I can't even remember that, but I wasn't very well when I did that one. And then we had to stop for the to sort some timber out for a friend who brought me this lump of timber. So in return, I planed and ripped his some door casings down that he wanted, and got them. They were nice pieces of oak. So, and he dropped his bike off as well. So we're all square. And that's obviously the piece of wood he brought me. That's ready to go in. Discussed it with the foreman this morning, and she's not bothered about having that fastened in, because I was just going to put some slots in the cross member. You've got to be careful with graining. If you fasten it there and there, the timber naturally wants to expand. It doesn't expand. It doesn't expand that way. It expands that way. So it can't expand anywhere that way, because that's up against the wall. So it'd expand off the front. So what you do is you put a slot. You drill a hole and you slot it, and then you screw it in somewhere in the middle, so it allows it to slide backwards and forwards. But the foreman is more than happy just to leave this loose fit on top. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not. We don't put stuff on top of it, and it just aids for easy access in case we need to get to the utilities, because it is all the fuse box and everything behind there. Like I said, that's got 1 more coat, and then that can go in. These, once they've set off a bit more and they stop peeling up, I'll go and get the doors in and we'll get them fastened in. Then that's that job done. I think we're done with all the timber work then. Can't think of anything else I've got to do. And then it's just a case of clearing the workshop. But anyway, enough profanication for this morning, otherwise this video will end up 50 million hours long. I'll stick you back in the stand, and you will probably come back with the frames on there waiting for those to be fitted, or me putting something else on there. Yeah, we're not where we should be. We've had a slight issue. I'll show you why in a minute. I just need to make some triangular fillets. Roughly 45 degrees. It's not going to work. I think I'd have been better off marking these out. I think that's about right. How many is that we've got? 4, 6. I think that's enough. I'll show you why. Come with me. Hey there. We're on. Right. So, I don't know if you can see. By the time the wallpaper's on and the wood's expanded and that, there's less than a millimetre gap across there. So if I try and brad nail them in, it's more than likely going to break out the timber. So what I'm proposing to do is to just put some of these on each corner, like that. Just sand them down, and just tap nail them in, and then I can knock them off afterwards if we need to take them out. So that's nice and easy. Should be enough to hold it. That's all it needs. It shouldn't damage the wood or anything underneath. So that'll be spot on. Just need to sand these down and tidy them up, but you don't need to watch that. What we will do is we will just give these a little testaroni first, just to make sure we're not going to hit any issues with it clearancing anything under there. So doesn't need a lot. Got to make sure I'm firing on the right side because it's actually a staple gun. What did I say about firing on the right side? How did I completely miss that one? This is oak. It's very tough. Right, so that's firing down there. That fires through that hole there. So if I put that, how did it miss? That's where I'd expect it to be. Right, so they're in solid. Same for we'll just quickly fly around and do these other ones. Some fairly dodgy angles here. Not even sure it needs the corner one in, but we'll stick it in anyway for good measure. Sorry, kicking you all. You need to move a minute. Sorry. Missed again. How am I missing? Right, last one. Right, I'll just go and test fit. If it fits, I'll do the other ones. I'll try. Yep, that worked. So I'm just gonna move you over here because you were in the way last time. Right, that's the top. Sanded these down before we started. Just taking the edges off. Yeah, I'm tight. I should just go and get some more sandpaper out rather than doing this. There's some sanding blocks in there. Could get one of them over. Some of the belt sander over there. Could use that. So do that. One, two. Well, these angles are a bit suspect. Now then, nail these in. Come to me, nail gun. How many nails have we got left in? Ow! Don't slam your finger in the nail gun. How did you injure yourself with a nail gun? Oh, silly, how did you do that? I closed my finger in the nail drawer. That's getting a bit severe. Well, again, it's a bit that close to edge, that. That's a small one. So we find out we nailed it in the wrong way up. Nope, that's good. Just so you go. You can see what they look like. Yeah, and now I need to tidy up. We'll slide it across. You know, I haven't used that nailer in probably 7, 8 years. Top. Good quality kit this. I can't remember where I got that one from. It wasn't an Axminster one. That's the only thing I can remember. It's definitely not an Axminster one. Hold in for nails. We'll get in a bit low. We'll wait till we run out. In with this now. It will actually do nailing, but given the fact that I've already missed the block several times, I'm not going to risk it. Oh, we're out of nails. Remember which ones I used last time, whether they were the longer ones or the shorter ones. Look at these. I'm going in now then anyway. I missed that last one then. No, I think we've got them all in. There we go. Job finished. Wind the cable. You can't see all this. Just put the blower back on it. It's alright, isn't it? It's a little bit bowed, that one. If the quality control person moans about it, we'll put another clip on the. We'll put a straight on the other side and just pin that one in. None of the others have gone like that. I'm hoping it'll straighten out when it dries. We'll see how we go. Right, just that to finish. Last cut. Foreman's happy. Just got to wait for this now. And then that's tacky. I can't do anything with that now. What else have we got to do in here? Just start tidying up. I suppose I could fix that fan, but that's a different video altogether. Right, I'll bring you back when I. God, my back's killing me. I'm still not 100% right. Just doing the exit for the doors. God, I hate these exit things. Look, look, it is what it is. Apparently people like the YouTubers to sit at the end and talk about what it is we did. What did we learn today, kids? Look, we salvaged a piece of wood that I can't remember where exactly it came from. I think it was reclaimed from a school. It's just about dry. It's had its third coat. That's going back in the house. The other bits are in. I might take you for a quick sneak peek at it as it goes in. I know it's flipping cold in here today. My hands are freezing. Woodwork, probably won't be seeing a lot of this now. You never know. There might be some other bits and bobs to do, but at least I can start cleaning up the workshop and hoovering up all the woodworking stuff and start making an inventory of everything I'm going to sell and start taking pictures. End of an era. Am I sad? Yeah, I am in a way. I built lots of stuff, but I don't do a lot of it and I don't have time to do it. And I think I've said this before, I do enjoy the spanners and the metal and the machinery more than I enjoy the woodwork. Yeah, I'm okay at it, I'm good at it. I've had somebody who's a joiner's looked at my joints and said they're spot on them, so you know, but I haven't got the time or the inclination, I haven't got the patience, I'll be honest, for it anymore. It's a very slow, laborious thing. Unless you're gonna, you know, you're not going to make a living out of just making cabinets and stuff, because you need all the machinery, and you know, it's a lot of it's CNC now. You can't compete. You know, you need a spindle shaper. It's like even the way this has been jointed. This hasn't been jointed like the classic way. It's been jointed using a spindle shaper. They shape it out there and they push it together. It's like a more complex tongue and groove. And it just increases the surface area for the bonding. So if you're going to do anything, you need all the machines now, unless you're going to go into a very niche, bespoke, crafted furniture where you can actually get away with being a bit shit because people like shabby shit stuff. But then you'd spend a lot of time crafting something that you need to sell for between £500 and £1,000 to cover your hours. You know, as a craftsman, you need to be able to recover between £50 and £100 an hour. So if you spend, I mean, if you total up the hours I've made just making those frames, I mean, I've spent days making those frames, planing everything down. if I was going to pay somebody to do that and work in this workshop, you know, it would have been thousands and thousands of pounds. I could have just gone to any shop and given them measurements and said, make me some frames, and it would have cost me a couple of £100. So it's not worth it. You know, but if your time's free, which it is with me, and you're doing it for yourself, then that's a couple of £100 I've saved. But it's getting less and less that I'm even saving money now. So when we were refitting the whole house, it was fine. That's how come all this what was bought. The joiner we had at the time wasn't very good. It took him a day to hang a door and put the casing in, and we'd got about 20 odd to do, and I did them all within the space of about a day and a half. I just made up a template for the router, routed all the hinges out, put all the frames in, routed everything out, just bolted it all together, and it went. And then started making custom furniture for the house. So it's bespoke fittings. Now it would have cost me thousands of pounds to have those made, especially as the site foreman's particularly picky about some stuff, and a lot of the joiners would have just turned around and said, no, you can't do that. But it's not that you can't do it, it's they're just too lazy to do it. So it is what it is. And you know, I don't get that much. I do get some. All right, I'll be honest. I get some enjoyment out of it. That's a beautiful piece of wood. There's nothing makes me happier than I've got that horrible varnish off that, and I've oiled it, and it looks lovely now. And that's going to go in the house, and it'll look nice along with all the other stuff. And I get a certain amount of pride out of that. But would I rather spent the 8 or 9 weekends I've done planing it down, fixing the bloody machines when the machines are packed out? Would I have been rather fixing bikes, fixing motorbikes, messing around with machinery, doing some welding? I'd have been rather doing that than doing the wood. And I think that's what it all boils down to. I've got other interests now. Anyway, that's a bit of a ramble, at the end. We'll call it a day. Look, put some comments on if you want any of the machines. Just ping me. But it is what it is. Job's a good one.